Top of the night, people. I'm really tired and I want to go to sleep. Cashews. Good for the brain. Omega-3s. But I gotta do this blog. Right? I'm gonna say this. In the past, I've been said it 1,000 times. There's a lot of Bronx dudes that claim Harlem. Right? There's a lot of Bronx dudes that claim Harlem. To each his own. Right? But I'm gonna say this. People always talking about, oh, the dirty Bronx. The dirty Bronx. The Bronx is this, the Bronx is that. Right? I'm going to say this. Ralph Lauren is from the Bronx. He's one of the illest designers in existence, Ralph Lauren, right? And he got levels, purple label, black label. He made curtains, carpets, blankets, pillows. Like Ralph Lauren do everything. He make dresser drawers. He make all type of shit. Chandeliers. Like Ralph Lauren is levels. It's like he's the illest designer in the world. It's levels to that nigga. He ain't just like a Gabbana or a Dolce Gabbana. He not just like a high-end fashion. He got levels. He do high-end. He do this. He do that. Like he got everything. Ralph Lauren sell cabinets, all type of shit. He even sell upholstery for cars. We got Calvin Klein from the Bronx. John Gotti's from the Bronx. Al Pacino's from the Bronx. Al Pacino has a famous quote. They said, why you never have bodyguards? He said, I'm from the South Bronx. I don't need no bodyguards. That's a famous quote from Al Pacino. Y'all can Google it. That came out of his mouth. We have Regis from Regis and Kelly. We have Farrakhan. Farrakhan's from the Bronx. Right? We have Stan Lee from Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics is huge. Spider-Man, everything, right? So if y'all don't know, Stan Lee is a character in his own comic books. I'm not going to tell you the character's name. Y'all got to find out on your own. But Stan Lee is the biggest when it comes to comic books, right? We know Jack Kirby was his partner. But Stan Lee's from the Bronx. They named the street after Stan Lee in the Bronx. Ralph Lauren is the biggest designer. Al Pacino is one of the top actors. Right? People just know the Bronx for hip-hop. The Bronx has Willie Colon. Willie Colon is like the king of conscious salsa music. He's from the Bronx. We have Johnny Pacheco. Johnny Pacheco is the godfather of salsa music. He's from the Bronx. The godfather of salsa music is from the Bronx, Johnny Pacheco. We have Tito Puentes. He's from the Bronx. A lot of top big dogs with salsa music is from the Bronx. The guy that invented the gaming system. Without this guy, there wouldn't be no Nintendo, no PlayStation. Because, y'all niggas is stupid. Y'all sit in front of the video games for hours playing NBA Live and all that stupid shit. I don't sit in front of video games. I got books. I value books. I value education. Information. Right? I'm not even counting the low vibrated Bronx people. I'm not even talking about Jennifer Lopez and people like that. Kyrie Irving. Sorry, I'm going to stop eating while I'm talking to y'all. I don't want no mishaps. Kyrie Irving, father's from the Bronx. Kyrie grew up in the Bronx, Mental Projects, but his father's from the Bronx. God Fisher's from the Bronx. Kevin Child's from the Bronx, right? The Bronx is loaded with legendary kingpins, gangsters, singers, basketball players, right? We got levels of basketball players. We got levels of singers. We got levels of actresses. Kerry Washington is from the Bronx. Gina Torres, who was married to Lawrence Fishburne. The chick from Laverne and Shirley, I forgot her name. She direct movies too. Damn, it ain't coming across my mind right now. Who's from the Bronx from Laverne and Shirley? Damn, it ain't popping up. Oh, Penny Marshall. I'm sorry about that. Penny Marshall's from the Bronx. Billy Joel is from the Bronx. Farrakhan's from the Bronx. Right? There's levels to the Bronx. Dutch Schultz is from the Bronx. Real name Arthur Flagenheimer. If y'all don't know who Dutch Schultz is, he was extorting the whole Harlem. He was extorting Harlem. Bronx gangster extorting Harlem. Bumpy Johnson had to team up with Lucky Luciano to get rid of Dutch Schultz. Because even though Bumpy's a gangster, he couldn't handle Dutch Schultz alone. Dutch Schultz was playing too rough. Bronx niggas always play rough. And when y'all study the history of the Bronx, we have a lot of known extortionists that was extorting a lot of people from Harlem. I'm not downplaying Harlem. Harlem is my second home, is my backyard. But I'm from 156th Street and Cortlandt Avenue. I'm from Old Cortlandt, right? And there's a difference between Old Cortlandt and New Cortlandt. You know, Cortland got a billion gangs now. Back then, when I grew up, it was crews. And then from my mother's generation, it was dudes in gangs like Black Spade, Savage Skulls and stuff. But when I grew up on Cortland, just Cortland alone, Cortland is one strip in the Bronx. It starts on 147th Street and it ends on 163rd Street. But where Cortland, the people from Cortland, what we consider the heart of Cortland, what we consider the main part of Cortland is 151st Street to 159th Street in Cortland, right? I'm from 156 in Cortland, which is the nucleus. That's the street that split Melrose from Jackson Projects. I'm from Jackson Projects. The Torres brothers were from my building. Well, one of them. Well, he had a stash house there, I guess. But the Torres brothers had the Checkmate dope. I don't even want to get into the kingpins. Cortland was loaded. We had hundreds of kingpins. Hundreds of get money niggas, like basketball players. We have Richie Adams. We got my distant cousin, Chris McCullough. He went to the NBA. We got P cousin, Threat. Dwight Hardy. He played for St. John's. And then he went overseas and he won championships overseas. He was in numerous countries. Dwight Hardy. He was in Spain and all type of shit. He's still over there. Killing niggas. Getting chips. We got Jamal Walker. He was from my projects. He played for Duke for 4 years. And now he's somewhere coaching. I forgot what team he coached because I'm not really a basketball dude. But my hood got Willie Colon. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played for the Jets. He's from my hood. He's from Melrose Projects. The projects across the street from my projects. Still Cortland. I'm just naming Cortland. I ain't even going other places. Kool Keith. Legendary hip-hop rapper. Ultramagnetic MCs is from my projects. KG from the Cold Crush Brothers. One of the original pioneers of hip-hop from my projects, right? We ain't even naming the whole Bronx, right? But I did tell y'all Billy Joel, Farrakhan, Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, and all of them. There's levels to the Bronx. People always say the Bronx is dirty. We have Riverdale. Riverdale is a town, well, it ain't a town, it's a section of the Bronx. Harlem is a section of Manhattan, right? Because you got Lower East Side, you got Chelsea, you got NoHo, Soho, right? You got Chinatown, you got Little Italy in Manhattan. Harlem is a section of Manhattan, right? So the Bronx, one of our sections is Riverdale. Riverdale is just all co-ops, mansions, mini mansions, houses, 15-bedroom houses and shit like that. Co-ops, condos, mansions, mini mansions. And, just stuff like that. That's where I'm moving to next, Riverdale. Only place that's similar to Riverdale is Pelham Manor. Pelham Manor is full of co-ops, condos, mansions, mini mansions, stuff like that. Riverdale is ill, right? We have the Pelham Parkway area, and we ain't just talking about the Pelham Parkway by the train station. The Pelham Parkway by Jacoby Hospital and all that is loaded with a lot of Albanians, right? So that's where Alex Rodage is from. A lot of y'all don't know who Alex Rodage is because y'all not really tapped in. Alex Rodage is like the John Gotti, but of the Albanian mafia. Right? He was one of the godfathers for the Albanian mafia, Alex Rodage. right? Them niggas was gruesome. They was putting in a lot of pain. The Albanian mafia puts in a lot of pain, right? We have the Pelham Parkway area. We have Co-op City, right? Bay Plaza, old and new. Co-op City is loaded. A lot of people live there. A lot of bunnies is loaded. We got the Country Club. We have Shore Haven. These is good sections of the Bronx, right? We know the Bronx has a lot of projects, hoods, notorious killers, drug dealers. But we got a lot of sports players and stars. We got a lot of actresses, actors, legendary singers. Who else other than Billy Joel? We got famous doo-wop bands, bebop bands. You know, people, the Shirelles and groups from the 50s and 60s. The Bronx is just loaded. There's layered. Don't let 149th Street and 3rd Avenue trick you. Because people in the Bronx, we not letting 125th Street and Lexington or 125th Street and Lenox trick us, right? Everywhere has dirty, everywhere has good, everywhere has greatness. People, y'all gotta stop this, and y'all gotta stop slandering the Bronx, because a lot of y'all wouldn't really survive in certain parts of the Bronx. It gets spicy. Like, we don't care if you're from Brooklyn, Queens, or whatever. You can come to the Bronx and never make it out. Don't get it twisted. You can go anywhere and never make it out. Everybody keeps saying the Bronx is dirty, but the Bronx legacy is impeccable. It really is. The Bronx legacy is super duper impeccable on all levels, people. And y'all gotta stay informed. Y'all gotta be educated. Y'all gotta research. Let me tell you this about Harlem real quick. For the Bronx niggas that like to slurp and claim Harlem. And I lived all over Harlem. I lived in building 260 in St. Nick. I lived in 2660 in Drew Hamilton. I lived on building 212 between 7th and 8th on 140th. Building 3 Polo Grounds, building 1 Polo Grounds. I sacrificed a billion bunnies from Harlem, right? And I'm not saying that to toot my horn, but let me tell y'all about Harlem. Harlem is still holding on to the legacy of the Harlem Renaissance. I'm going to tell you about the Harlem Renaissance real quick. It was full of a lot of great people, artists, jazz players, rhythm and blues singers, soul singers, dancers, tap dancers, and everything, yes. But all these people migrated to Harlem from other places. That was called the Black Exodus. When these people migrated from South Carolina, North Carolina, even Bumpy Johnson, he was from South Carolina, right? Frank Lucas was from South Carolina. These people moved to Harlem as men, not little kids. They already was like young adults, right? Harlem is full of people, black people from all over. So people hold on to the Renaissance. Yeah, it was a great time, but blacks was getting bullied then too, especially by Dutch Schultz. Black people had to sneak in the back of the Cotton Club. Not sneaking, but they couldn't go through the front of a lot of clubs. Original Cotton Club is on Lenox. It's not on Broadway over there where y'all see it at by Dinosaur Barbecue. The original Cotton Club is on Lenox, and black people had to go in through the back door. They couldn't go in through the front. It was racism, right? But people still try to say Harlem, 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 and people always think money. There's a lot of bum niggas in Harlem. Niggas is living in walk-up tenement buildings. Every place has bums. So stop saying the Bronx is dirty. Right? Please, people, stop doing that. Because when the Bronx was burnt down in the 80s and the 70s, Harlem was too. There's a lot of footage around. There's a lot of footage. There's receipts. One last thing about the Harlem Renaissance, right? All these people that migrated there eventually left when the late 70s, early 80s came. So the Harlem Renaissance is really from like 1918 to like 1940, and them dudes went into the 60s still with a little bit of greatness, and then all that shit crumbled. That's the backbone of when people say, oh, Harlem, Harlem, Harlem. The 80s crack era and all that, a bunch of niggas destroying their neighborhood and all that. That shit ain't about nothing. But stop comparing a section of Manhattan to a whole borough that has a legacy, man. The Bronx is different. No boroughs like us. We start with the TH because we're the Bronx. We're the shit. And we're the only borough on solid land. If something ever go bad, World War III, an apocalypse or whatever, and they knock all the bridges down, a lot of y'all is going to be trapped in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and in y'all boroughs. Little enlightenment from Iron, man. I'm Oxygen. Stay blessed, man. Gotta go to bed.